Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface on the live servers for Warlords of Draenor. Gotta say that because sometime this week I'm going to be saying on the PTR for patch 6.1. True story. Right, now I've had quite a few people in fact, both ask and complain to me about this topic of conversation. People asking me, how do I unlock the Highmaul Follower Missions so I can get myself some decent gear? And I've had people complaining at me saying, oh, it's not fair that raiders get all the good stuff and we, if we can't, have time or the inclination to raid and we do LFR, we only get 640, blah, blah, blah. Which is not true. If you look after your followers, then you can actually unlock Highmaul Follower Missions, which will allow you to get Highmaul level gear. So, first things first, if you're not doing any raiding whatsoever, and you don't have any pretense to either, how far can you go with this Garrison Followers mission? Well, the answer is you can go to the first tier, which is a cache of Highmaul Treasures, which will have a 655 item level piece of gear. So that's this kind of level of gear. Now, one thing I've got to say from the absolute start is these Highmaul caches do not contain weapons. It's armor only. Can be any piece of armor, trinkets, rings, necks, backs, all that kind of stuff, but it won't contain any sort of weaponry. So something like this, which is the Staff of the Grand Imperator, which drops from the Imperator, of course, which is the final boss in the normal difficulty, the 655, that won't drop. But you can get your trinkets, you can get your rings, legs, shoulders, braces, etc, etc, etc. They can drop in there. Now, if you want to unlock this mission, what's the criteria then? Well, let me bring up the follow mission. This one I have at the moment is on the go. This is for a cache of mythic gear. We'll get that to that shortly. So, of course, you have your followers. These are my followers right here. Here's a cross-section of the followers which I have on the go. You'll notice when they get to level 100, of course, you start to work on their item level. They start off at level 100 with an item level of 600. And then throughout the course of your garrison missions, etc., etc., you can pick up these pieces of gear. These are the follower upgrades. Now, the really good way to get these follower upgrades is, number one, to have the salvage yard. Because with the salvage yard, when you complete missions, you'll have the chance to unlock crates of salvage. If you open up these crates of salvage, there's a chance that it might contain any of these, from epic, rare, uncommon quality. Doesn't matter, it could contain any of those. Also, if you have either the War Mill or the Dwarven Bunker, depending on whether you're Horde or Alliance, when you do the work orders for the Iron Scraps, there again is also a chance to proc these garrison upgrades for your followers. So why are they so important? Well, to unlock this mission, you've got to get two of your followers to a minimum item level of 645. Now, I've heard people say, oh, I only had to have one follower item level 645. But to me, it proc for two. For a lot of people I know, it proc for two. So I'm going to say you need two followers at a minimum item level of 645. These missions, though, will always require that you send 3 people on them. So if I was to look at the one which I've got in progress here, we can see it's actually a 3-person one. I've got 3 people on the go. Doesn't matter whether it's mythic, heroic or normal, they'll always require 3 people. So although the criteria to unlock it is 2 at 645, to be perfectly honest with you, I'd push a third to 645, and that way at least you have 3 followers at the correct item level that can go on the mission. Doesn't necessarily mean you'll have a 100% chance, of course, because it'll all depend on the abilities and traits that the mission actually requires. So if you are not a raider and you have no pretense to get into raiding whatsoever, you can still unlock that mission to get yourself 655 item level stuff. And from what I've seen, that mission procs once a week. The normal one, at least, procs once a week. So you can do it, you can get a piece of 655, next reset, a week later, during that reset, another one will proc, you can get yourself another piece of 655, etc, etc. So it's a slower way, but still, it is a way of actually gearing yourself up. Now, if you are a raider, however, you can actually start to upgrade this follower mission, as we have seen here by the fact that I can actually get it to Mythic. So after normal, of course, you've got your heroic. So when you defeat 15 bosses on normal difficulty, that's the old flexible, the normal difficulty, then you will actually unlock the cache of Highmaul Treasures heroic version, and that will unlock item level 670 stuff. So this is what I got in one of my caches a couple of weeks back. So this is the item level of stuff that you can do if you do normal raiding. So if your guild isn't progressed enough at the moment to go into heroic raiding, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. This is a great way to actually help your raiders out, help your guild out. Make sure that you've got your followers, as many as you possibly can, to 645. And then once you've defeated 15 of the bosses, which will take 3 resets to do because there's 7 bosses in Highmaul. So even if you cleared it 7 week 1, 7 week 2 equaling 14, it would therefore go into a 3rd reset to actually proc that mission. And of course, even if you're not good enough at the moment, or you haven't been able to at the moment knock down Imperator on normal difficulty, let's say you've got 5 to 6 bosses down, again, it would still be 3 resets, 5, 10, 15, 6, 12, you just need 3 more on the 3rd reset. So once you've knocked down 15 bosses in normal difficulty, you'll unlock the heroic version for the 670 stuff. So, how do you go and get the mythic stuff? Well, this is for the heroic raiders out there, and there's absolutely no reason, even if you're a normal raider, why your guild can't knock off Kargath in heroic difficulty. He's really, really easy to do, even if you haven't defeated Imperator yet. So you could always do that once a week anyway, and just keep that ticking along. But once you've defeated 15 bosses in heroic difficulty, then you will unlock the mythic mission. Now, from what I could gather, the heroic cache also procs once a week, but the mythic mission, that actually procs once every 2 weeks. So even if you've just completed a heroic mission, you've then defeated enough bosses to take you over the 15 heroic, which would therefore proc a mythic Highmaul cache, you would still have to wait 2 resets before that spawned, in which I've just had to do in this case. But of course, when it does spawn, you have an opportunity at 685 level gear, which is pretty substantial. There's also a further upgrade. If you are advancing in mythic difficulty, once you've defeated 15 mythic bosses, no, you don't get double mythic. When you've defeated 15 mythic bosses, you'll actually get a 1,000 gold bonus in the cache which you get, which is absolutely fantastic. Maybe it will actually compensate for some of those repair bills. You just never know. But to do these missions and have a really good chance at completing them, number 1, I would get as many characters over 645 item level as you possibly can. Number 2, make sure you have the buildings that I've previously mentioned. The Dwarven Bunker or the War Mill, depending on Horde or Alliance. The Salvage Yard. They really do throw these follow upgrades at you. The missions that you get here through the command table simply aren't going to be sufficient enough for you to upgrade your characters in quicker time. So if you want to play the follower game, those buildings, in my point of view, are absolutely essential. Of course, the more you have also at epic level will give them 2 abilities and 3 traits. So not only will they have extra chances of filling the gaps when they're completing the mission, but they'll also have the arena, the area bonuses like Planestrider or Marshwalker and all that kind of stuff, again, which add to the percentage chance of you completing these missions. And that is how to do them. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media as well as twitch.tv for live streaming. All those links are in the description down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.